Oh, good night. Good night. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Oh, peace, brother Maurice. 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, let me see how this works here. Um, Need to make sure. Brother Morris, let me see, my mic is not even moving.
What was that?
All right, still, it's all right. Um,
Recording in progress.
Peace, brother. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right, that's what's up. All right, so we're waiting for everybody to tap in right now. The door's open. Yeah. So tonight we're streaming um, YouTube live. So I'm hoping everybody enjoys tonight's conversation. We starting this here with high expectation. We don't know what is going to happen, who's coming in regards to, just the call on this night. So we'll be seeing exactly, or should I say, listening. Yeah, so we can be able to expand these conversations and take it to another level. So when we talk about the sacrifices of a father, right, individuals who just had a child, if you can remember your first child, the first time a child was born, and you believe that child was yours, what did you sacrifice? You know, um, I'm gonna just briefly set it off because I know that we live streaming, so I want to keep individuals to an understanding of where we at right now. With me, I am the founder and the executive director for Fathers Alive in the Hood. So approximately 16 years ago, this started, if not a little bit more. This whole movement about fathers being alive, being active, being alert, being aware out in the community is one of the most detrimental things that can actually happen in this day and in this time. For individuals who don't feel that way, 9 times out of 10, those are what you call your deadbeats. And the deadbeat is, an individual who's just there. He's not making a sound. He's just, his silence meaning it's an agreement, and he's okay with another man raising his child. He's okay with not being in the picture. Those deadbeats are, who they are. They don't get no rap because they just deadbeats. Um, yeah, for the most part, we are here tonight, and we intend on bringing something miraculous to the table right now in regards to this topic. The group will be continuing to grow momentum wise. We will be seeing exactly what it is that is necessary, or should I even say not even seeing, but hearing whatever, exactly what it is that's necessary for individuals to take into consideration on the things that they have to be able to sacrifice in these days and in these times. Because at the end of the day, it is imperative that when you are a creator, it was your seed that fertilized the egg, the womb. In the womb, man, the womb, man. When it fertilized that seed, you then became what you call responsible. Because now you have to be able to respond to the call or the cry of that child as a father. So we want to see our children go further than we are and than we do. And but in the same instance, it's just understanding that there's so much more power and purpose as we are continuously building this momentum here so that we can be able to establish presence not only in the boroughs, all of the 5 boroughs within New York, but I'm talking about out of New York, like New Jersey. I'm talking about like North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Alabama. I'm talking about some areas that we really need to be able to touch and have some men active and aware and alert and alive, right? And it only happens when iron sharpens iron, they say. We got to be able to start to show each other, just by sharing information, the betterment of being a father. You know what I mean? Like if you looked at tonight's topic and you understand this topic that we're about to dive into, and I'm literally talking about diving into this topic. A lot of times you'll understand the reason why we got to go deep inside of these things. Because there's some men, believe it or not, who didn't want to sacrifice nothing. And they didn't. They just got up and spent. You know what I mean? They just took the time and they kept it pushing and they never even thought twice about that child. They never thought twice about, the responsibility that they had as a father. In fact, they didn't even want to be accountable. And understanding that accountability is one of the most important things that a man can actually do is a beautiful thing. And accountability just means, right, being able to account for your time, having the ability to account for your time, your day to day motion. What are you doing with your time? How are you spending your time? And when we start to see all of these things add up, we really begin to understand that our time is one of the most valuablest things that was given to us on the face of this earth. And when we understand that our time is very precious, we'll start to deal with it preciously. And knowing that, right? When I say like with the topic, what did you sacrifice when your first child was born? And man, when my first child was born, for me, I'm gonna tell you like I changed my whole life. I was with you, I sold drugs in the projects around the time my first child was born. And my mindset was all about like, I gotta make sure this child eats. I was a child myself. And my father, he didn't show me how to be a father. I don't know how many of you brothers that's on here now that could attest to the understanding of not having a father to show you the route or the way to be able to move and develop to become the man that you are. But unfortunately, you still became the man that you're supposed to be because you're here today, right? At the end of the day, that's just what it is. But for the most part, us being who we are, having that ability to account for our time now, when we look back at the times when we were younger and when we really didn't think about the enjoyment of that time, right? The memories and the things that were very crucial for us to even be able to engage in is very what's the word? Is very important, should I say? Is important for us as brothers to just reflect and to think about these things because what happens is, right, if let's say you got a boy child, girl child, whatever kind of gender your child is, you want to be able to pour the best of you in that child. And the best of you is the one who takes the time and the patience that is necessary in order for you to be able to pour in the things that needs to be poured in your child. There has to be a balance. I recently was just advocating for a young man who has been back. Probably his oldest child is about 16. So I've been really working with this young man for since his first child was born. And it's 16 years of this young man going in and out of the family court system. The mother of his child, she just took the children and moved to another state. He found out where she moved to. She upped and moved again. And I'm like, at the end of the day, this isn't for the best interest of the children. It's literally despite this man. And it's crazy for some individuals to go through this, but they do, and some go through it to the point where no matter what it is that they changed in their life, they have to deal with the regrets of even just having a baby by the wrong woman, right? And for me, as I was saying earlier, just take my story back a little bit. When I first thought, and I'm gonna just keep the word, listen to the wording. When I first thought I had a child, it was a female child, and I was growing up in Queensbridge housing projects, and I was dealing with my mom and my dad at the time, who had my brothers and my sisters. They was inside foster care. I was old enough I was old enough to be able to get out of the house, not to get caught up in what we called at that time BCW. We called it BCW at that time. I was able to get old enough to get out the house and get in the wind pretty much. When I um, came back, I started dating this young lady. I'm gonna just leave it alone as far as names, right? Names, it can remain nameless. I was dating this young lady, and at the around the same time that I moved back, and she had a child by me. That's what she told me. And for some of y'all who got some good ears, y'all understand where I'm about to go. Uh, so now I'm a teenager. I'm in Queensbridge housing projects. I got a child. The mother of this child, she gets kicked out of her home by her mother. And of course, me being the father of the child, I'm like, you know what? You're gonna come and stay with me. Move down to my house. But in the process of her staying in my house, she had to accept the lifestyle that I chose when I was younger. As far as, being a drug dealer and doing what I was doing within Queensbridge housing projects. And and I don't glamify these things at this point because I'm older, I'm more mature, and I'm able to look back and say, I consistently want to cleanse my karma by doing continuous positive addition to the kingdom of God because I knew who I was working for when I was in my darkness. So now, boom, I get back to the situation where, like, one of these mornings, the police raid the house. The baby, the baby moms is in the crib. At the time, my best friend, he was renting a room next door. There was another dope fiend dude. He was a dope fiend. They was getting him for cash. My moms and pops, they was hustling, right? They literally was renting the room out to this guy, and everybody got locked up that morning. The police raided the house, and everybody in the house got locked up. But in the process of getting locked up, what I did was, which was always honorable, is I said, whatever you find in this house is mine. You know what I mean? And I let them go as far as search and everything else. They didn't find anything. All they found was scales, paraphernalia, and that was that. But more so, right? I'm just trying to just hurry it up because I know I'm still waiting for some brothers to add on. So if you listening, brothers, do me a favor, just jump in our chat real fast and send a blast out. At the end of the day, listen. The thing is, I went through this process of standing up and being accountable at this time in my life, and I was offered it was a 12 to 24 month program, or 4.5 to 9. Now, mind you, I didn't know better. I was young, scared, things like that. So 12 to 24 month program, 4.5 to 9 in prison. I pretty much know how to do math. Anybody know how to do math? You know how to do math, you know what kind of math I took, right? That 12 to 24 months, that program, I jumped on that ASAP. So when I got in the program, all I could think about is I'm going to be a better father for my child. Not only did I get my high school diploma, right? I graduated with my grade, my GPA was 95, and I felt good about that. Like, I never been so credited when it came to school, but I was locked in a program with focus, and I was like, I'm gonna make sure that, you know what I mean, I be a better father than my father was to me. That was my goal, and I think a lot of brothers might be able to identify when I say that, right? Because it comes from the heart. Like, I'm always gonna be a better man than the man was for me. That when I was growing up and I needed him in certain areas in my life that I wasn't able to articulate nor demonstrate to him the true needs that I had as a young boy, because even growing up as a boy is still exploratory. We still run around and we still be exploring different situations and different avenues to try to understand, who we are. And we grow up and this individuality to understand that our purpose is solely not just to die, but it is also to mature, it is also to build, and it also is to destroy. So, understanding that, it was a very ill transition for me when it came to understanding the reality of my situation and circumstance. If I messed up this program, I was definitely going to go to jail, beyond a shadow of a doubt. So my focus was getting in this program, completing this program. So not only did I complete the program, I was able to get my high school diploma. And it was only like 2 years. After I got my high school diploma, I had to figure out what kind of trade that I had to take. And this was around the time I was 19 when I finished this, right? 19, been in there for about 2 years. Baby was 2, so she's 4 years old. Baby is 4 years old, right? And it's transitioning when I'm on my way home. So now I got my high school diploma and my trade. I jumped on my KSAC training, just being a drug counselor, because I ain't understand much when it came to like culinary arts and mechanic and all that other stuff. I wasn't my interest. So I jumped on this thing, which was my KSAC training and certification. I went to a school for 9 months in Brooklyn, Uh, it was ran by this teacher by the name of Donna DePola. Um, real good teacher. I still can remember to this day. In the process of me going to school, I actually found a job as a drug counselor, as a junior substance abuse counselor in the Bronx, in Project Return in the Bronx, which was 1500 McCombs Road. And it was called Exodus House was the unit. In that unit that I worked in, I was the youngest there, and I had 22 clients on my caseload. 22 clients on my caseload from the ages of 16 to 56, from heroin addicts to crack addicts to individuals who are very influential when it comes to this this thing that we're going to be doing. Pardon me 1 second, brothers. Is y'all are y'all there with me? Is everybody there with me? Give me some type of sign or something. Y'all just didn't sit up here and join. That's what I'm
Copy that.
talking
Keep
about.
on going.
We're all here.
All right, say that, say that, say that. So now I get this program and I'm doing what I'm doing, getting through the process. And as I start going back and forth home. At this time, I was living in South Jamaica in a place called the Bricks. In fact, that's where Fathers Alive in the Hood actually was in full sponsorship of putting the Sean Bell mural up right over there in that same area. Some of y'all, if y'all ever went to South Jamaica and y'all went over there by 147 in Rockaway, there's a mural on the wall for Sean Bell. So in that same location, we were able to put the mural for Sean Bell up. But what I'm saying is I stayed there at this time of my life. So one day when I went by the baby mother's and father's house while while she was there, and the mother told me, she not even told me, she told him, she told her, my fault, take him to court for child support. This was the motivation. The mother told her daughter to take me to court for child support. So, at this particular time, I ain't never been to child support. I ain't never had none of this kind of situation happen. But when I first got into the court, one of the first things I said was, "Can we get a blood test?" And providing a blood test and everything comes out okay, I don't have a problem with my upholding my responsibility. Only reason I asked for a blood test at that time of my life because I had a doubt. And that little doubt, it was there for a reason. But now I'm gonna go on and say like this. Go through the process, right? Got the blood test done. Now I'm at work. I got a caseload. Sometime in the summertime. I had a whole van full, 22. We on our way to FDR pool in the up in the Bronx area. We go to FDR pool. And all I can remember is like I had the voicemail pager and it goes, it's 911, 911. So I look at the pager. So at this time I had to go to the payphone. So y'all know what it was. You know how this is a while ago, right? Because I'm talking about payphones and beepers. Yeah, this is how this is like 99 though. This is what I'm telling you. This is how fast technology is lit out here. Um, so I go and I pick up the payphone and I listen to the message on the other end of the line. All I heard was, "You don't gotta worry no more. The baby's not yours. You don't gotta be in our lives no more." She's crying. You hear it all and I'm now as she's saying this, the phone drops from my ear, and I got this stoic spirit that just took control of me. Like it was just stoicism, like, and I'm just like, I didn't know how to feel. I was just broken. I was like, I changed my whole life, like to be a father. But then when it turned around, it was like I'm being a father to a child that's not even mine. I find out at 4 years old. She's 4 years old when I found this out. And that right there, my brothers, listen, when I tell you that swallowed my soul, And from that point, my life began to spiral. I went from doing everything in the light to falling right into the darkness. And the darkness, well, y'all can hear that in the book. Because I'm definitely writing a book. But I ain't about to spit that all out here. Because I got other brothers that's tapped in. And I want y'all to understand that in that particular time in my life, I was 19. I was young and I didn't really prepare to be a father. But there's somebody that's young right now, because they say, the game don't change, only the players. They say also it's nothing new under the sun. There's somebody right now that's going through the same problem. They dealing with a female and the baby not even theirs. And they going through all kinds of torment. But they didn't take that time to get that blood test done. And Lord knows, the truth. And when that truth actually comes to the forefront, I hope that that person is able to, handle it accordingly. Um, but like I said, man, brothers, this here tonight, man, this conversation is like, what did you sacrifice, man? What did you sacrifice when your first child was born? I could say I sacrificed my life. I said to myself that I'm gonna be a father. I said I'm gonna be a father by any means necessary. And my any means necessary, that means I looked for a job at first. I ain't gonna hold you. Before I got locked up, I was looking for a job. And after I got several doors slammed on my face, then I went right to the street. The streets was open 24/7. And that's just what it was. So when I turned around, it was just like I felt I was doing what I needed to do in order to survive, in order to be able to contribute and provide for my child. Um, I learned that one of the most important things that I did sacrifice was my time, because all of the time that I put in as far as like loving on her and being a whole changed man, that it broke me down. But the best part about life is we live and we learn. And as we continue to learn as we live, we understand that the evil that we choose is solely on the decisions that you've already conditioned your mind to accept. Don't ask me to repeat it. I hope you got it when I said it. But for the most part, just being a father, being someone who, as soon as you get that first child, your first that first pregnancy test, and that pregnancy test comes, and it's on you tonight to say like, yo, like this is me, this is my junior, this is my little baby. Like I don't know about you, but I just gave y'all a brief about me, and for those of you who tapped in late, y'all can check our YouTube page. We on YouTube Live now as at Fathers Alive in the Hood on our channel, so we could be able to try to get um, a broader audience when it comes to some of these trials and tribulations that we speak about when it comes to this fatherhood thing, when it comes to being a father, when it comes to being a man, right? Because we go through a lot, and the transformations that we undergo does not stop. We consistently are changing. Every day we are changing, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually. There are components in us that is consistently changing. So I say this, brothers. Um, be inclined to share, because you know not who air that your story might be able to move, penetrate mentally, spiritually, where they could be able to look at things from different perspectives. Because having this conversation tonight about having a sacrifice and being one who sacrifices can only help you be able to identify um, with the pain that it took to have that first sacrifice. One of the first sacrifices in the Bible was Abraham and his son. He was ready to go body his son. He was ready to go kill his son because he believed in God. His faith in God was so super. That's some super faith. Any of y'all can attest to that.
Yeah.
That's some super faith. You was ready to go take your son to the altar and kill him. But God always had what? A ram in the bush. So he didn't have to kill his son. But he was willing to. So for me right there, that was one of the most obedient acts I've ever acknowledged in my life. Um, that change that was so necessary for that father so that he could be able to bring forth generational change and impact. That was just one of the first fathers I knew that was ready to just put it all on the line, man. So I know some fathers on here right now, man. When when the mother of your child called you, what was it like? How did you feel? Like, were you on that kind of mindset, like you got to change, or was you the kind of person was like, you got to deal with it? I wasn't in agreement with having a child anyway. So I told you I ain't want the child, but you want to stay pregnant. You know some guys like that. We all know some guys like that. And just being real, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Kenny, true indeed. One of the things, the biggest thing, like you said, with Abraham being, that's why they call him the father of faith. Um, what happened with him is, and it's something that continually happens with God. He'll give you a direction, but he won't give you every single step that you got to take. So you got to just walk out and step out on faith and trust that he's going to guide you through. We all want the promise, but very few of us want to go through the process. That's why he doesn't, dictate the process to us. You go step by step. You take this step, and then I'm gonna get you through to the next one, and then to the next one. But so many, they just want to they want to see the whole. They want to see the whole plan worked out before them before they take the step. But where's the faith in that? Just go ahead and believe that he's going to guide you and direct you.
Well, I know that's definitely truth. But when I think of, you know, almost some odd million sperm cells being shot inside of females fallopian tube, and only one, just one, make it to, you know, to the ovary, just one, and that one just so happened to be your child, and that woman call you and say, "You about to be a father, and I'm having a baby." It's like I don't care what you was doing in your life. If you was working a 9 to 5, if you was outside on your grind, whatever you was doing in your life, how would that have impact you as a man? Your first child, because everybody over here, I think everybody here father, some shape, form, or fashion. So at the end of the day, what changes, what sacrifices that you have to make directly to be a father? No longer, no longer a son. You are no longer a son once you become a father because you so focused on that father energy, you forget to be a son. Just like eventually you forget to be a brother too. Because it's father time. And I just don't say it loosely. Father time, I really mean father time.
It would be great if everybody took that mindset and realized that when I became a man, I had to put away childish things and think as a man. But so many people, they just want to continue to hold on to be, well, like you said, I ain't tell her to do that. So they just want to do them and not take the time and realize that listen, you have this child's whole life is in your hands. So you're the one that directs them, guides them, and shows them and should teach them right from wrong. But so many don't. But yeah, I know I did. I was like, oh well, some things gotta change. Can't do what I used to do. So that's what happens with it.
I mean, Kenny,
Well, I mean, that's the good thing. Go
Yeah.
ahead, let's go.
yeah, brother D.
Yeah. My personal, hey, peace, everybody. My personal story is I was trying to have a kid with my wife for like 8 months, and I was gonna go through the uh, I forget what you call it, where you donate your sperm and they check the
It's
counts.
In vitro.
in vitro.
In vitro. So God had blessed us just the day that I was supposed to go out to the doctor's office and do whatever they have to do. You know what I'm saying? So my wife comes home, and I guess she took one of those birth
Pregnancy test.
pregnancy tests. There you go. Thank you for that, bro. And she ended up being pregnant with my first child, Elijah. And Elijah has been a blessing for me, man. It really turned my head on the responsibilities that we have as fathers, especially, you know, just the aspect of me back in the days, probably I'd be going out to the clubs and, you know, getting trashed off of alcohol, smoking weed and stuff like that, man. And it really put a perspective into me. And 3 years, like I told you prior, that I've been clean, I've been focused, I've been getting my stuff together, healing. But I think Elijah was a big responsibility at first that was challenging, because you don't, like your brother was saying before, you don't really get a guidebook to this. You don't, you know, and the challenges weren't challenges, they were actually blessings, because it actually matured me as a father to have a second child and understand they're both different, but it helps me understand where I have to guide them in certain roles. Like both of them are doing great in school, you know. I don't have the greatest strategies, but I do my best just raising them to be good men, to be kind to others, to, you know, to reflect kindness, love. And, you know, I think one of the things that I've always loved about my children is that I've always wanted the childhood that I'm giving them is the childhood that I would have wanted, in a sense. So I'm happy to share that, and that's my piece for now.
That's great. That's great. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, my
You
brother.
made the decision. You made the decision to do that.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And it was a decision that you know, my wife had a hand in it as well, you know, because she said, like, I used to like hanging out on Friday nights. She was like, you know, the most important thing is your child, and you know, you gotta step up. And here I am. Here I am.
So I'm gonna say this, right? Through every trial and every tribulation that we go through as men, know that these particular trials and tribulations create and help us build character. Character is not something that's just learned in a book or learned, you know what I mean, or for cartoons. It is definitely something that we learn by going through trials and tribulations, making decisions, whether they're right or wrong. And once we make these decisions, it is imperative for us to analyze those decisions that we made, whether or not if they were positive or negative, however the outcome was. If it was a positive or good one, that's something to keep in your data bank, because your data bank has to be downloaded into your child. What are you downloading into this child? Because see, if you don't want to download and you was the one who was like, nah, man, that's on you. I don't know what you talking about. What baby? What? I told you I ain't want no baby. I told you I wasn't ready. All right. You want to have it on your own? All right, have it on your own. And then next thing you know, you got the cell phones nowadays. The cell phones is raising the kids. So now you're telling me that, the database that the media has, you know what I mean? The media has, which is the medium, right? That's the go through. You giving that particular device authority and a gateway to your child's soul. You just offering your child up as a baby. You giving your child the device, which is the device is already geared with negative algorithms and things that don't even supposed to be revealed to children at a certain age, which they're getting. So you're offering up this child's soul because dad don't want to be there. So 9 times out of 10, when you dealing with this particular situation and you start understanding that father's not in the picture, you know, you start understanding this thing here. It's called blind justice. It's this woman they got right in front of the courthouses, sometimes even in the courtroom. She's holding a scale. And on this scale that she's holding, right? It's like it's heavy on the emotional side. So I mean, the emotional is down, and was it? No, my fault. The intellect is down, and the emotional is up. Some say it's something like that. Because see, this is what I mean about up. The right side of the brain is an emotional side. We all know that. A lot of women respond from the right side of the brain. So the left side is usually a logical side. So us being logical beings as men, we think a lot. We like to strategize before we move. Am I right? As men.
Yep.
So now you got this young boy who's being raised nothing but females around him. She's coming off on an emotional side. So now her being an emotional person and really might not even have balance herself because her father wasn't there. Let's keep it 100 because this is what's going on. Her father wasn't there, so now you got this baby that's caught in the middle. I'm not afraid of any child. This baby that's caught in the middle, and now this baby it grows up, and it grows up to be what we call materialistic because since father's not there, mom is there, and the first thing she thinking is my baby needs some nice shoes and nice clothes and this and nice that and nice this. I see it all happen all the time. She makes sure the child is good, nice and dressed and fly, got jewelry on, all of that. So now she introduces this child to materialism, which is kind of akin to emotionalism, and emotionalism therefore bring forth, right, the sacrifice. Now the sacrifice is right here. This is how the sacrifice goes. In the back of the dollar, it says, what does the word say in the back of a dollar bill?
E pluribus unum, that one?
Nah, the other one.
Or in God we trust?
In God we
In
trust.
God we trust, right?
Yep.
So in the back of that dollar bill is in God we trust. Now, where else is that sign at? In God we trust. Where else is that sign located
The court.
at? In the courthouse. Well, by gosh, let's start doing some math, my brothers. So for the brother who didn't want to stay there, 9 times out of 10, you got this child that's growing up from an emotional standpoint and is guaranteed to want what? Paper, right? Because once you get to a certain age, let's really understand this here. Because now you got the social media raising your child. So now your child is attracted by the glitter, glamour, and the gold and all of this stuff that's being, promoted and advertised online. You have no idea what's going on. So this child eventually ends up either two places. Because I start to realize as this child gets older, there are two cultures that we live in, or we have a choice of making on what to choose. So one of the cultures is called love, a culture of love. A lot of us attest to that right now, but we had no idea that we was dealing in a culture of death at one point in time in our lives. So in the culture of death thrives off of materialism. The culture of death thrives off of negative energy. So whatever that case is, that child then becomes a subject to that courthouse because he was running around chasing that same bill that said, "In God we trust." only to end up in front of a Caucasian man with a black robe with a white collar that says right behind him, "In God we trust." But there's no father figure, there's no authority in his child life. No authority figure active at all. Because unfortunately, how the darkness goes, once you're consumed by it, you don't have no other option other than to seek for the light. A lot of us on here, we didn't have no other option other than to seek for the light, because we know in our darkest times, we are whole different beings. Whole different beings. If you had to adapt to the reality that it would have been if you would have made the wrong decision. So I'm just saying, brothers, when I think about the sacrifice of one soul, that there in itself is wild to me. It's wild, WILD, wild to me, because it's like you literally have the ability to make a choice. And just like the movie The Matrix, it said it was the red pill or the blue pill. You got the ability to make the choice. What was your choice? Why did you make it? Why did you make it? What was important for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna be a father and I'm gonna stick around? Or was you one of those, if you, it's okay if you was one of those guys and you on here right now and then you was like, man, F them kids. I had to go live my life. Keep it 100 with us. Let us know why you said it. Why you felt that way. Because see, I know some like the young man I was talking about earlier, 16 years of going to custody back and forth. The mother done moved to out of state. The young man said, I'm ready to give it up. I don't got no, I'm done. He figuring his oldest son is 16. The other one is 14. He already got in his mindset, well, the 16-year-old is going to be 20 in 4 more years. He's already doing the math to throw in the white flag and say, I'm tired of going back and forth to court. I'm tired of going through this process of allowing the emotionalism and everything else to affect his growth and development as a man. I don't even know, man. Could you even think you might be one of those brothers right now who are going through court, this family court system? And I know for a fact that when you go through this process, it impedes on your character. It impedes on your development and growth, because it's still one of the biggest elephants in the room. Regardless of what room you in, that's an elephant in the room in your life. So when you go through this process, all I want you to do is think about when that call came and she said, I'm pregnant. How did you feel? Was you one who jumped for joy? Or was you one that was ready to deploy? Because you was unemployed. And then when you was unemployed, you became paranoid. And the only reason you became paranoid because you was trying to figure out, yo, how I'm going to take care of the child. I can't even take care of myself. What you mean you pregnant? What you mean? Let's talk about it. What sacrifices did you make? Or did you sacrifice at all? It was okay? Because the reality is this, brothers. We all seen the elephants in the room. And not only did we see them, we had to deal with them at so many different levels. And yeah, it's definitely child neglect and abandonment. I don't think people understand that either. When we think about leaving your child, like imagine if God left you. If God just left you, like he showed no signs of his existence in your life, how would that make you feel? How would you identify? Would you even know he was there in the first place? Because we're dealing with a culture of love, right? the culture of love is of God. It is the culture of the kingdom of God. Love. So I'm just curious. If God would have left you wherever you would have been at in your life, and you wouldn't have had no signs of his existence, how would you have felt? And that's a lot of the situations right now, brothers. You learning in the process. Learning in the process. You know how hard it's gonna be with this generation that we have right now? We are the torch bearers. This generation that we're in right now, these men, the men that are amongst us, we are the torch bearers for the generation that is to come, right following us. If we don't show them what fatherhood is, or what's the purpose of even sticking around, being accountable, if we don't show them that, who you think gonna show them? Because once we get to a certain age, when we hit them senior years, and I'm talking like brothers like myself. I'm in the last year of my 40 club. You know what I mean? And I know some of y'all is my senior, but that's okay. But at the end of the day, it's literally about us being able to teach each other. Each one teach one. What happens is with a father, they become isolated. This is how I say fathers are isolated. Just for example, the last fatherhood brunch at the end of the month that we just recently had. The father came there with his 3-year-old son. He didn't take time to ask anybody to do anything, although he needed the assistance. We all seen that he needed the assistance. But when we start to recall brotherhood, it starts clicking in us. So sometimes you don't even have to ask. Because the next man that see a father walking down the block with 3 children, and one might be a little bit bigger than the other two, and the other one just by herself. You're not gonna, and you see the kid running in the street, you're gonna look at the father and be like, you better chase your child. No, you're gonna run and get that man's son, respectfully, because you're a brother now. So it's like, nah, certain things that you just can't allow to continue to happen in your presence. Like you can't allow, for me, you know what, I can't say that what you can allow. But what I'm gonna say this, what I don't allow, right? I don't allow men who don't take care of their children, and I know about it, in my presence. We can't sit down, we can't break bread, we can't chop it up. Ain't none of that. Like the reality is, like I have to deal with men who are responsible, men who are fighters, men who don't want to quit. And when I say that, men who don't want to quit, I mean, rock out, boy. Oh, you going to court for your children? Rock out. Oh, you going to trial? Yeah, rock out. Tooth and nail. Because love is an action word. A lot of the times, individuals can't understand what love is because the only thing they do is hear it through material things. He gave me this bike because he loved me. He gave me those flowers because he loved me. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And that gets messed up. But they don't think about the actions, the blood, the sweat, and the tears that it had to take for you to even give anything in the first place. And this is just what's real. It's sacrifice sometimes just for gas money, yo. Just to get to the location. So yeah, we here on purpose, man. I see brother Hess had his hand up.
Yo, peace and blessings. Brother, can you hear me?
Peace, beloved.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit, it's a little choppy.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you a little better now.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Peace and blessings. Okay, I take it y'all can hear me, man. Brother Kenny Carter, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, I never had a father. I don't even know what it's like, you know what I'm saying? But I can remember being 10 years old and my mama asking me, she like, baby, what you want for your birthday? Your mama finally got a little change, you know what I'm saying, to do something for your birthday. And I'm gonna buy you whatever you want. I said, Mama, man, you gonna buy me whatever I want? I want to be able to talk to my daddy for the first time.
Mm.
She's like, boy, your daddy
Wow.
don't care nothing about you. When I was in that group and I heard you, he wouldn't come get you. He knew that the state of California was gonna take you if he didn't come get you. But he said he'd rather have that hair on than to come and get you. You don't need to be talking to your daddy. Why don't you get you what the other boys want? They want Nintendos. They want Sega. You ain't never had none in your life. You want a pair of Jordans? You want, what you want? I said, Mom, I want to talk to my dad.
Mm.
And after about 2 months, you know what I'm saying? I mean, on that business, man, she let me talk to my daddy. And we ain't talked about 3 minutes, you know what I'm saying? But my dad had told me something I'll never forget in my life. He said, Andre, you the man of your family, you the man in your house.
Hello?
What happened?
Oh man. Yeah, his brother Hess just died out on us. You there, brother Hess?
Yeah, man, that's just something I wanted to share tonight because like what you've been saying, bro, we got to earn our way into children's hearts and lives. But being a father, though, you ain't even really got to earn it. Just be there. Just be there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, like now I strive, man, to earn my way into young people's life, to be able to be heard by them, that they know that I care. And I'm willing to pay almost any price it takes. But I see that the biggest price that children want is consistency.
Yep.
And a persistent willingness to listen to what they got to say and not judge them, you know what I'm saying, no matter how real they get, man. So I love this conversation tonight, man. I love the therapy that I'm getting from it down in my soul because, man, y'all make me almost go back to a boy child, you know what I'm saying, again, and receive this nurturing from y'all where I wasn't getting it, you know what I'm saying, from no man, you know what I mean? So it's like that's peace, and then it's almost giving me validation that I'm on the right track, confirmation that I'm doing the right things and striving to be a father figure or a big brother figure to these brothers inside these walls, man. So y'all keep coming back, man, and keep spreading, man, the way you're doing it. I love y'all, man. It's peace.
Oh
Love
man.
you, love you back, brother.
Peace, peace. That's powerful, brother Hess, no doubt. Definitely. And that's one of the things we always try to emphasize to the fathers that's out there that can't give their kids the Jordans and the this and the that. The kid wants your time to show them that you care. Because time that speaks volumes, man.
Yeah, it definitely do, brother Abdul. Peace and blessings, brother. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How your brothers doing?
Come on, blessed and highly favored, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention, well, I guess just a couple of things, and I guess pose a question to everybody. Because like what you said about not breaking bread with a man who doesn't take care of his kids,
Yeah,
and and I feel you on that. And I guess my question is this though: how many men do your brothers know of that aren't taking care of their kids or trying to be in their kids' lives
Hmm.
in some way, shape, or form? Because I hear about the deadbeat, but I just haven't met them. So that's an interesting thing. Because I believe a certain narrative is being pushed about that. I mean, because I don't know if you were referring to me, but earlier about the two sons, 14 and 16, and their mothers in another state. But that's my situation.
Oh
And
wow.
no, like I'm not giving up. It's just about trying to figure out another strategy. Because at the end of the day, I can never give up. But I do understand how people feel that way because I mean that shit takes a fucking toll on you.
Yeah.
on the real when it's like, I mean, because the whole situation is just heartbreaking. Like every single time, and I'm being alienated from my kids. So it's like the birthdays, the holidays, Christmas, the summertime, the wintertime, all that shit hits you hard. Like, to give you an idea, like every single day I call, like I get my hopes up. Every single day they don't answer, it's heartbreaking. That's every single day. And it's like, so, I mean, and just to give you, just to put in a better perspective, like even happiness in general, my happiness is capped. Like I can't be super happy about anything because I don't have my sons. Food doesn't taste the same. Like nothing is the same because of that. And that's a pain that you deal with every single day. You don't talk about it because, I mean, the truth is everybody don't even want to hear about it. But that shit hits you hard every single day. You got to deal with that. And it's like, I understand some people want to step back and be like, look, that shit hurt too much. Hopefully they'll realize that I love them. Like, and everybody gives you different type of strategies. Hey, write letters, write book, like all of that stuff. I mean, and that's all this stuff, hoping that you have that relationship with your kids later. Now, I've met people in their 30s who have told me that their mother lied to them the whole time and they just got connected with their fathers. Like I've heard that story countless times. So again, I question, it's like how many men like are really deadbeats? What is that real percentage? Because every single man I know is in his child's life or fighting to be in his child's life. Every single one I know. So I don't
Oh,
know.
that's a
That just makes me question the whole thing.
yeah. That's real. So that means it's fair to say that you don't associate yourself with boys.
As
I'm,
in,
I'm not saying that to be funny, but I'm just being real with you because right now we got a lot of young boys who are 15 and 16 years old, 17 years old, and they're getting these young girls pregnant.
mhm.
And these same young girls that are being pregnant, they don't have father figures that are there. And this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
happening in our communities right now. So when I think about, a deadbeat, I'm thinking about the young generation that is coming up under us. For us to be able to be the role models to say, nah, you fight until you can't fight no more. Nah, you know what I mean? You make sure you get a blood test, youngin. Like all of the stuff that we had to go through and learn the hard way.
Hmm.
That's why we have these conversations. Like, the
No,
things
I
you
feel you.
sacrifice, like the things to sacrifice, that's one of the things that you got to look at. Like you said, what is the
Hold on
actual
one sec.
number? We
Come on.
don't hold company with individuals who's deadbeats because every man that I know, they take care of their children.
Hmm.
So I know that there are individuals who exist because you hear it in the banter. People talk about
Hmm.
it, but it's like they talk about it around you. People got stories, but that's not something that's in our cipher because that's not what we attract in our lives at this time where we at. We vibrating on different frequencies right now, man.
Hmm.
So it's just about having our understanding. I think, like, as long as we can continue to develop and grow through our trials and tribulations, as we get these lessons, these priceless lessons, is our choice to share those priceless lessons with other individuals for free.
No, I get you. I get you. Absolutely. My point was this though. Like I'm fighting, and I know about 10 other brothers that are fighting to be role models to their own children. Now, I'm a role model to my stepdaughter and to other people, but I'm fighting to give that to my children. So this is, and I think that this is a big issue that nobody's. I mean, I don't think it's being talked about enough.
Right,
It's definitely not talked about as much as deadbeat is talked about.
right.
But even someone like me who's fighting to be there, I'm called a deadbeat just because I don't want to be with the mother. Really, that's what it boils down to. But so when we hear somebody say that, it's like, is that really the case? Is that really true? And
It's
if it's not
definitely
true,
and
then
and and, and
it's another
honestly,
issue.
brother, when I do hear it, I always need this. I need to know the intricacies of the relationship. Then for me to even have a partial understanding to make any type of judgment, because it's not up to us to be judgmental, but it is up for us to be able to take account and to have an understanding of what really goes on. Because people name call all day, but when it comes
Hmm.
to the reality that exists when we think about these young girls and these little relationships that be happening out here and people not standing on business and being a father, that's one thing. But when you say like, nah,
Wait.
there's fathers that's out here that's really out here, we
Hmm.
about that business. We out here going to court. We about here, you know what I mean, showing up.
All right, but
It's
if
amazing.
we no, no, but if we're talking about like teenagers, teenage pregnancy, that's more of an issue on parenting that we need to talk about.
You think?
Not even like why these 15-year-old boys aren't stepping up. It's like why these 15-year-olds out here having kids?
Yeah, nobody showing them how to be fathers. But see, the problem is where they gonna learn from.
Wait, there's still a parent in the house too.
Sometimes parents are incapable, and I think a lot of the times when it comes to just having these conversations, let's say for court, for instance, right? I deal with a lot of brothers who got court issues, and they go to court, and a lot of the times they go to court, they start talking about the emotional things that they're going through, like you know what I mean, like dealing with a woman, and this woman is this that and the third, but instead of going into the emotional banter, go through the facts. I am a father who is able living. How you say? I'm a father that is capable to be able to provide a safe environment for these children to be able to develop and be nurtured in a way that they can contribute to society. Like there's certain kind of conversations that has to be expressed. It can't be about, well, yo, she ain't letting me see the kids. No, she's an unfit parent because of this. All of those points. Bing, 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 bing. Like brothers got to be able to turn their arguments into legal ammunition in
Oh
a
yeah, no,
courtroom.
no. I absolutely agree. I mean, the thing is that no one that's having a child is expecting to be that to even make sure they brush up on whatever legally they need to be successful in a custody case. Everybody's thinking, I'm gonna be a father, raise my kids and stuff like that. That's the thought process.
Yeah, it is a thought process, but that's how it normally is once you have a child that you want. Some people,
Mhm.
have children that they actually sit up there and they work on. They have sex intentionally to create a child.
Hmm.
And then you have, children who are called oopsa babies. You didn't pull out. She got pregnant. Oops. But now what? Are you gonna stand on your business and say I'm gonna be a father? Or you gonna be like, nah, that's not mine. I don't want it. I ain't even trying to bother. Because there's so many
Hmm.
different
Yeah.
levels that men have to be able to just stand in and be on that kind of time. And if you get what I'm saying, because like you said, it's a mental shift. It's just not something you jump into. Being a father is not something you just jump into.
Hmm.
You have to condition your mind. And what happens a lot of the times ain't no conditioning in the mind. The mind is already like it's off. There's so many different things that's happening that people will start to oh man, crash out. That's the word. People will start to crash out.
Okay. Um, well then, for me to get better clarity, I would say, what do you think that percentage of deadbeat men are, of fathers? What do you think that percentage is?
For me, I couldn't even give you an accurate number, brother. But what I could tell you is I know when I go into places like Rikers Island and we go in there for programs, I ask the housing unit to raise their hand for those individuals who were raised without a father. At least 80% of those men raise their hand.
All
80%
right.
in
Maybe.
almost every housing unit.
Uh-huh.
So I would look at their fathers to be deadbeats, right? So, and if it's every housing unit, it's
But
anywhere, and it ranges from 80% to 75%. Their
see, but
sons become incarcerated.
I get you. I get you. But what I'm saying is that we're labeling them deadbeats with no data, none whatsoever. We don't know what the situation is with their father. We don't know if he's intentionally being kept out, like I am and many other men are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Respectfully, brothers. I'm sorry to interrupt this, King and D. When we
Peace,
talk
beloved.
about when we talk about deadbeat, we're not talking about fathers, whereas there's a situation where the mother is not allowing them to see the child. A deadbeat father to me is a father that knowingly and willingly that is making a conscious decision not to take care of their child with
no,
no
no,
obstacles. But no, you're not incarcerated. The mother has no problem with you coming to see the child. The dad is the deadbeat, not the system, not a third party. You, willingly, knowingly, knowing that you had this child and you do not want to see the child. So when it comes to
hmm
deadbeat dads, for me, a deadbeat dad is a human being that refuses to see their damn child.
no,
That's the
no,
bottom
trust
line.
me.
It's
No,
black
no,
or
no.
white. There's no gray area here.
I'm not debating
I'm not saying
the
you are.
word or the definition.
I'm not saying
Uh,
you are, but
the,
it's clear that what a deadbeat dad is. I have a brother, rest in
absolutely.
peace, that had over 11 children, and he passed away April 19th, 2023. All right, he couldn't be. This is a person that came out of the same womb that I came out of, and that nigga knew he couldn't come near me because I
Hmm.
have a motto: if you're not gonna take care of your children, you can't be near me. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you walk on water. You're not going to come near me. That's me. That's my principles. You dig what I'm
I
trying to
get
say to
that.
you? But when it comes
Absolutely.
to deadbeat dads, me personally, I have zero respect for you. Zero. Again, I'm not talking about human beings that are incarcerated or the baby mama's playing games or they're mentally having. I'm talking about you. Nothing wrong with you. You say, you know what? I pick this over my children. I picked this lifestyle. I have no respect for it. You dig? That's what deadbeat dad is. And I apologize to interrupt you guys. You dig what I'm trying to say to you? But I had to say this because I'm actually working. I got to keep it moving. You know what I'm trying to say to you? But that's what a deadbeat dad is right there. There's nothing wrong with you. You have no handicap. Nothing wrong with you mentally. Not that I'm saying if you have a mental problem or drug addiction, that's an excuse. I'm just saying nothing is wrong. You willingly say to yourself, I will not be here for my child. All a child needs is
Hmm.
love, man. Child don't need a Rolex. A child doesn't need. That's all a child needs is love. I said my piece. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well said.
Brother,
With
brother Chris, are you able to talk?
But we
Yeah, I'm able to
hear
speak.
more people being labeled as a deadbeat. And what I was saying was that if the actual deadbeat dad only amounts to maybe 5 to 10% of fathers, like should there? I mean, there's a lot more other stuff that the other variables, other situations that would be more prevalent.
More what?
That would be more prevalent than even focusing on the
Yeah, it
deadbeat dad
Yeah, we all
position
look.
because.
We all right now. Fathers alive in the hood. We alive. We ain't got nothing deadbeat about nothing we doing. So when we talking about stuff like this, we're bringing light that there are men that's out there fighting not only for their children but for their freedom. There are men that's out here that are being responsible and are able to respond and have the ability to account not only for their time but for where they are at right now in their lives. So when you think of, like, as far as proactive, that's what we are. When we talk about this, like when we mention a deadbeat, the deadbeats know who they are. You know what I mean? If you're not a
Mhm.
deadbeat, you already know the vibes because you might feel the same way. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes somebody could use a title, and you might, feel that it's something that's pertaining to you or your experience or whatever it might have been, or somebody try to label it on you. That's not you. You're not your label, but you are
Mhm.
your actions. But they are, and I can say that I know that there are fathers that are out there that act as such. But I'm not here to give that individual light. This conversation tonight was strictly about just thinking about when was it when you got that call when she said, "I'm pregnant." What was it in you that had to switch off and say, "Look, I got to change. I can't be the same person I am. I cannot do this. Being the same person, the walk that I'm walking, I can't do this. I gotta switch it up. I gotta do it for the health of myself, for the health of this child, because I'm about to be a father." And I'm just curious about that. And that's what the real conversation was really to be focused on, brothers. I ain't want to stray off, but of
Mhm.
course, as we continue to go down this rabbit hole, there's different chambers that we tend to fall in the conversation. And falling in the conversation in regards to acknowledging a deadbeat father, um that's not really what the focus I want to really like home in on, because if there's men that's not doing what they're supposed to do, when they see this is going to curl their belly up. This is going to make them feel very how you say, convicted. So it's just a time for us just to be able to share, be honest with each other, and also just, to share your wisdom. Brother Stefan, and then brother Hess, in that order.
Appreciate you, brothers. It's always a good day to be a father alive in the hood. I appreciate everyone and their transparency always during these meetings. Real quick before I share, I guess I kind of get what Brother King and Brother Kenny are saying, just as far as, we don't give deadbeats any, type of any sort of platform, anything like that. Um, like Brother Kenny said, when you know that you're not a deadbeat, whatever can be said about you is whatever. Like you're that, like whatever someone says about you, that's not your title. I think what Brother King was saying, as far as what they are, a deadbeat, obviously someone who's willingly knows about their kid and chooses not to be in their life. Now I get what Brother Abdul was saying, like there's other men who, you know, deal with different situations, with the mom, all those things. But I think what Brother King was just saying, like, if there's nothing stopping you, no ailments, no objectives or well, no objections or anything like that, then yeah, if you choose not to be in your son's life or your daughter's life, whatever, then yeah, like that definitely make you a deadbeat. I think to kind of go into my sharing, I think there's a definitely a special line that totes only because when my brother had his son, he didn't have much money, but he was doing what he had to do or whatever. And then he was like, "Hey, there's a better opportunity for me in Atlanta for work. My child's mom's obviously not let me see my child. So the best I can do is to be better for him. I gotta go to this opportunity." But I took that as all right. Well, my brother's doing whatever he needs to do financially as a young adult, as my my nephew, as his uncle. The most I can do is be physically there. Like I can't replace your father, but as him getting his life together, doing what he has to do to get opportunities for you, does that make you a deadbeat because you left states and you trying to figure it out? Nah. But in the time, it's like, all right, you're getting your thing financially. What can I do as another brother, as another man? I can be there physically. So taking my nephew to basketball, soccer, school, like all those things, I stood in the gap. So I just think, I think that's what we're missing to Brothers Kenny point, as far as, like all these younger guys, having sex, doing all that stuff. They don't have that person in between to stand in the gap, like, yo, bro, like folks on school right now, like girls not going nowhere. Get to your money, women not going nowhere, sex not going nowhere. Like that's always gonna be a thing, but your money's gonna come and go. Like that needs to be something that you have to stay focused on, your career, all those things. So yeah, I just, kind of want to harp in on that. I appreciate, the way that the conversation is going and the dialogue that we have here. Definitely has a lot of layers. I think for me, my main thing when I was having my daughter, like I was married to her mom, so it was mainly me focused, like, okay, like, doing everything the right way, or grew up in the church, whatever. So when we decided to have a kid, it was like, all right, like we're locked in, like let's figure this out or whatever. So I was ecstatic. I was like, oh snap, I'm gonna be a dad. Found out I was gonna be a girl dad. I said, oh yeah, we about to, run this up. And I had my daughter during COVID, I want to say, so about 2021. So I think Kobe had passed or whatever. So, so the stigma on, like, well, not stigma, but like just a grand gesture of like, oh, girl dad, like that was a thing. And I was happy to be a part of that number. So I was like, okay, cool. How do I lock in? How do I be more focused? I think in that aspect, and I think another brother was saying how, him and his wife kind of planned it and figured things out. I think that is the best key when you do it or whatever. But I mean, obviously you just try to, there's no what's the word? There's no pamphlet for it. So you just trying to be a dad. My dad was in my life, so I already had an example. I knew what not to do. My parents obviously, well, I got divorced too, but like my parents were divorced. So I was like, okay, how did my parents show up for me, even though they weren't in the same house, they weren't together? Like, so those different things were like the blueprint for me, and I make sure to show up, as much as possible. But afterwards, like I did have another child. So, like my thing with that is like just trying to always be there for him. I am neck deep pause in court proceedings. Like I've been in court for the last 2 years, as far as like visitation, all those things. So I get where Brother Abdul was saying how, there's a alienation that comes in it with men who do want to be around their kids, who want to be present. And we all preach consistency and structure in children's lives. But I want to, leave this to the brothers. How do we overcome when the only consistent thing that is being restructured is the time with our child? Like I've told the courts, hey, I'm available this time. I'm available this time, and then most courts are going to give you whatever weekends that the custodial parent feels that you're available. That could be just my experience. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but for me, it was like, okay, well, his job has him traveling, so these days aren't good for him. And the court should be like, all right, cool, well, you know, you'll do weekends and whatever works from there. So, not to stray too far off, but I was very, very happy, very, just overjoyed at the fact that I was bringing a child into this world. My parents, uh, second grandchild, my grandparents, second great grandchild. So I appreciated that lineage still going on. Very happy about it. But I do face the uphill battle of someone who wants to be in their kids' lives and the court system saying, okay, cool, prove it. And it's like, damn, I got to prove to you that I want to be in my kid's life. You don't
Wow.
see everything I'm doing. So it's just, little things that, I kind of go through, but I appreciate the chat allowing that transparency and that grace to be able to express myself, and, appreciate you guys for listening.
Yeah, that's peace, brother. That's definitely peace. And it's good that to know that, there are more fathers on here that are fighting and that are willing, man, to fight to the end when it comes to just being a father. And it's crazy if somebody would have ever told you in your life that you had to fight to be a father, you would think to yourself, like, you mean you gotta physically fight? Like you gotta throw your hands? And they'd be like, nah, that's the last fight you even gotta think about. And you like, what kind of fight? Well, the first fight is a spiritual fight. And it turns over into the physical realm because they use the mother of your child as a conduit for it to be able to do it in your life, just like the woman called Eve was used in the beginning. That same woman made a choice. When she made a choice, either you was part of that choice or you're a result of it. And yeah, and definitely fighting the system. So you fighting, spiritual, physical, and systematically. And the systematic part, I think I broke that down earlier for those brothers who may have not been here, but I was just breaking down, the in God we trust that's on the back of the dollar bill is the same in God we trust, that fatherless young man, or that young man, should I say, right? Who might even had a father, but the father wasn't as focused on his life as he's supposed to have been. He ended up chasing that, going after that dollar. And when he go after that dollar, he find himself right in front of a judge where the same sign that's on the back of that dollar is right behind the judge. I'm just saying. Brother Hess, you had your hand up?
Oh, peace, brother.
Oh, you going in and out.
No, I was just really,
Can y'all hear him?
no.
Mm.
Can y'all hear me?
Just put y'all thumb up or something if y'all hear him.
You a little clear now, Brother Hess.
That's. I'll just come back in later on.
All right, copy.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, well, peace and blessings, man. You know, I just put in a link inside the chat. The brother Dax came out with a song called "What It's Like to Be a Man," and I encourage y'all brothers to check that song out, man. You know, tonight's topic, man, when you just really broke down what the topic is about and what we're really speaking on here, man, I had to really just reflect on, you know, am I a deadbeat dad? You know what I'm saying? Because after doing those 8 years from age 16 to 25, I got out of prison and came back to the city of Atlanta. And mentally, emotionally, I was still 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? I had been incarcerated for something I didn't do. I didn't rat. You know, I just kept it a brick. But I was mad on the inside. I suppressed things. I was hurt. My family didn't stay down with me. I was mad because I was growing up in the system that you know what I'm saying? I felt like I should have been going to the Marines. I should have been, you know what I'm saying, paving the way for my life. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I got caught up in this beast. So when I got out and I got this girl pregnant, you know what I'm saying, and I wanted to marry her, she really was like, gave me an ultimatum that you got to stop drinking alcohol and snorting powder or else I'm having an abortion. And mind you, I wasn't mentally there. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't living to get high. I was getting high to cope and live because I really was ready to die. And I already tried to commit suicide, but I ain't trying to get too deep into that. But anyway, you know, the sisters, we went to the doctor, and I can remember, bro, coming out that doctor, man, I just wanted to go get high, man. And I didn't know how to face responsibility. I didn't know how to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was too much for me, man. Like, now I understood how my father felt, you know what I'm saying, when I came into this world. And, you know, when I think about deadbeat dad, the first thing that come to my mind, like, well, what is the flip side of a deadbeat dad? Heartbeat, man. And that's what I see y'all brothers as. That's what I see the couple of individuals that mentored me, you know what I'm saying, that love me until I learned how to love myself. You know what I'm saying? And you know, man, I just commend everybody, bro, that's here because a lot of cats, man, and if you do got a child that you may have not took care of, or you know what I'm saying, and feeling the shame because, hey, man, you know, I think that might have been my child and I didn't do enough to figure it out. I had the blood to, man, don't feel ashamed, don't feel guilty, man. Ain't nobody in the world perfect, man. You know what I'm saying, man? We all striving, just like that song say. We striving to be a man, man, and being the man you can be as responsible as you want to, and you still not gonna get your flowers until you right there in that casket in front of that church pew. You know what I mean? Most times. And so, bro, man, I just encourage y'all brothers to give your best, do your best. You know, and one thing about it, man, if we got faith in God, man, God gonna put us around the people we need to be put around. And until then, like the book of James, chapter 1, verse 2 say, count it all joy when you face trials and tribulations of mankind. Because I wouldn't have Pop's movement probably if I had a Pops in my life. But not having no Pops, it made me create a national, international movement, one of its only kind, of a brothers behind the walls love so much that I'm willing to enter the life of any man, woman, child that need a Pops in their life. And so, man, that's
Oh man. it just continues to be a blessing, man, to be, in the presence of some good brothers, man, with some wisdom, understanding, and knowledge about just life in general. Because see, if you don't understand that something that you have went through in your life that was negative is going to literally empower somebody else in a positive way when they hear how you were able to navigate through those things and be the father that you are. A lot of us, man, are going through some things, and we keep it to ourselves, and we have to know that one man is not an Allen on his own. And as we continue to allow our village to increase, all I say to brothers is share this information and it's in the chat. Share these groups on Mondays, because what happens is we add more individuals to the cipher, and the circle get bigger. And when the circle get bigger, that means the will get bigger. When the will get bigger, that means it covers more ground. I ain't never seen nobody get nowhere fast in a 10-inch rim. But if you threw some 24s or some 23s on that jump, is going to definitely get faster to where it need to be. Brother Morris, your hand is up,
Yeah,
bro.
happy yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear? Okay. Happy Resurrection Sunday, by the way. That's first and foremost. Number one, I think I explained my background that I didn't grow up without a father. Um, Actually it was a side where he didn't check out. My family wanted him to check out. You know what I mean? They felt that he was 17 years old, he couldn't handle it. My grandfather said, you know what, we got this. So he said, okay. And he had, he had another family, to take care of. I didn't see him at all, period, until I was like 35 years old. And after that, we had a great relationship. But I said that to say that um, when my wife and I got married, it was intentional to have a child. And going through, the doctor visits and checking and all that good stuff. Um, I remember my wife um did her checkup and she said, I gotta talk to you. I said, for what? No, I mean, excuse me. I said, I gotta talk to you. I said, okay. And she broke down and cried and said, we have a son that has Down syndrome. And she started breaking down crying really bad. Either I was oblivious to it or I was just grateful. My statement was, let's do it. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, let's go. I'm aware of, children that have, mental retardation or special needs, but I don't know anything about Down syndrome. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I never knew the exposure or the intellect to know what entails raising a child with Down syndrome. I'll tell you, honest to God, it's the best experience I ever had in my life. There are some trials, different tribulations. My son had to go through physical therapy, um, you know, speech therapy and everything like that. But I count it all joy. There are times that's frustrating. His when he does his IEP, he's not at the level he needs to be, but I'm still there. Like I guess she thought it would be her by herself, or she was just, emotionally frustrated that she thought would have a child that would be normal. But nah, God put that in place so we could unify. But not only that, as an addition, we now support Down Syndrome Association. And we are participants. My wife is a part of the committee. So it was just actually a blessing. And whether it was special needs or not, I was there because I didn't have a father that was there. So that's all I have to say in closing. Thanks for letting me share.
That's peace, brother. Appreciate you, man.
God bless you, brother. Definitely. You took a stand that a lot of people would not, and you let it be known, and you saying that how it's been a blessing to you to put in the work that you're putting in and to see the accomplishments that your child is able to accomplish. It's hard work, but nobody said it would be easy. And you're to be commended for taking that stand and doing that. God bless you, brother.
That's peace. That's peace. Any other brother? I think Jawel. How do you pronounce your name, brother? Jawelle. Okay.
It's Joel. My fault. I'm trying to figure out how to get this working. I got a new phone.
Are you with us in the conversation, brother?
Yes, I'm here. I've been listening for a little while now. I've been in for like 15 minutes so far now.
All right. So, what is it that you got from out of this, brother?
I mean, I hear you guys, talking about, you know, the relationships, how it is, growing up without a father. That's pretty much my life too. That's what I'm getting out of this. I'm 26 years old and I've been without my father all my life, and it was definitely rough trying to like just live under my mom, and I got a woman raising me, not really teaching me the ins and outs on how to be a man. So I guess I could say that I fell into how I'm kind of like trying to raise my son. I still feel like I'm in the process of trying to learn, try to be the best version of myself that I could be for him. But I guess I would like to say that not too long ago I had a fellow reach out to me, and he was telling me that he was my father and things like that, and I didn't really know how to feel about it. I didn't know how to take it, but I gave him the opportunity to meet up with me over some food, and I sat down and spoke with him, and just looking in his eyes, I could realize, I really do look like this man. So we took it as far as going to get a test to figure out if I'm really his. And then it came back with the results that it was positive. But, I still don't like have that relationship. He's like another man that I've never known. And I'm basically like trying to learn how to be okay with it. And, I'm trying to like, let him be the father that he wants to be to me. I feel like it's a little different because like I'm 26 years old now. I've been through everything almost on my own with my mom's. So like I definitely understand where most of the brothers is coming from on how it is, not having that figure in your life. That's all I'm getting from it so far now. That's the things that came to mind. I felt like I could share with you guys.
Yeah, that's peace, brother. That's peace. You said you had a son of your own, right?
Yes, I got a son. He's 1 year old.
One. So I'm gonna just say, just tell me what you think about it. Allowing your father to engage with you and your son, to give him an opportunity to be a grandfather, because the truth of the matter is that by you observing him being a grandfather, could give you a better insight on your fatherhood skills and tactics. What do you think about that?
I mean, I never really spoke to anyone about it. So, hearing that, it kind of gives me like the feeling that I want to lean into it a little more and give him a better chance. But it's like it's just hard for me because I dealt with so much pain. I seen a lot growing up, and my bestest of friends, they had their fathers present in their lives and stuff, and that's something that I always yearned for growing up, and it just wasn't there, and I just had to learn how to navigate through life, just pretty much teaching myself.
Yeah,
So it's just not that easy to just let them back in, but I mean, I guess it won't hurt to give them let them have a shot at it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can be a grandfather. Because at this point, I'm a still be present because I still gotta be able to earn your, earn not your trust, but I gotta learn how to trust you, right? I gotta learn how to trust you by giving you these opportunities as a grandfather, and I give you some air to do such. and see how how it works out, man. Because at the end of the day, um, your heart is still hardened, but it becomes a little bit more penetratable when forgiveness is in the mix, and you'll know the time when it hits you, because you're gonna have your moment when you're sitting there. You might be by yourself in the space. And you might really just break down and just start crying and going through that emotional stuff. But you'll be understanding, because once that process is over, you're gonna say to yourself, like, I really forgive him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Or so I think that's a dope situation. But like I was saying earlier, man, iron's always sharpens iron. So any other brother may want to say something to our young brother Joel's?
Yeah, so I was gonna his brother Chris. So I was gonna jump in and say, look at the situation as a benefit. Being that you're a man and you could decipher certain things, don't look at it through the eyes and the experience that your mom went through. Don't look at it from what you went through when you was young and everything that was missing. Look at what the benefits could be. I'm not saying just throw all your trust in it because, as you said, there's a person that you still got to get to know. However, figure out what the story is. Man to man, you could analyze why this happened, why that didn't happen. As you've grown, you've had to learn certain things about the world, and sometimes we don't know the situations our mother put the father through.
Yeah, you're
Other times
absolutely right.
it could be the whole family. Sometimes it's finances.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's emotion. It could be other people that was in the situation. Brother Carter started off the conversation saying that he was in a situation where, and I've been in that myself, and I'm pretty sure other people have been in there, where one person you have a female can have a child with somebody, and then another person is said to be the father, gets involved, and then that person end up not being it. And these are the reasons why you said you even had to take a blood test to figure it out.
Yeah.
So we got to have these conversations and be mindful that, listen, is a crazy playing field. And even whether it's our mothers or not, we got to look at what the real is. The brothers on here know my siblings' dad killed my dad. My mom never told us that. We found out after the funeral what was going on. You get what I'm saying? So, and we got to analyze things from a different perspective to kind of know where it is. All of our family members won't tell us what truly happened. So when you do have the opportunity to speak to the person themselves, then ask them. And wherever your heart is, wherever your mind is, you have a grown up adult dad that you could communicate with and be like, listen, this is how I feel. You can now get the answers from a person. Like you don't got to think about it. The times that you was a child and you felt like you needed love, support, care, direction, and stuff like that, you may have not got it then, but you and that person can build on how to clear the trauma, how to go back and ask things about your history because life is short. We just don't know. And I'm not putting any time limit on your life or his life, but because you don't know and you do have the opportunity now to make the most of it and then utilize that, as Brother Carter said, for your son's relationship with his granddad. Now he gets to grow up with a granddad if you so allow it. And y'all both can see that. So you can see how he is with a child, you can see how he is with yourself. And remember, as a human being, we all still working on ourselves
Yeah.
day in and day out. So the best of it, I would say keep in tune with us for the most part because we speak on different things and some of us have fathers, some of us are fathers, some of us not. But as men, as brotherhood, we can serve all levels for each other, man.
Yeah, that's
And you
peace.
always got your father in heaven. So God bless you.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
that's peace, brother Chris. Appreciate you on the bill. Yo, just know that no man here is the same. Like when I was 24, I was looking at 35 to life. And that's after finding out the baby wasn't mine when I was 19. So just understanding that math, I was 19, I found out the baby wasn't mine. The whole life that I put in my mindset to be this good father and everything else, all of that turned out to be a lie to me. And when it became a lie, I took it out on the streets. My whole life curtailed and spiral. And then I found myself at the age of 24 years old looking at 35 to life. Potentially would have still been locked up if that was the cards that was dealt for me, but it wasn't. Now I'm sitting here before you. I'm 13 years married, 12-year-old daughter, and a 24-year-old son.
That's a blessing.
And
I definitely appreciate y'all brothers for the talk, man. You know, I definitely never opened up about this topic, but I feel like it's just a coincidence that I tapped into the call and you guys are having this conversation. So I felt like maybe it was meant to be some time for me to open up at some point, you know.
yeah,
But I definitely, hearing you brothers talk, I definitely might give them a shot, because you guys are right. You know, I don't know his story. I don't know what happened when I was younger. So maybe I should just give him that time to maybe express that to me and, just give him a chance. Because you're right. My son does deserve to have a grandfather. And, they do deserve to have each other regardless of, how the relationship was with us or whatever happened. We could all just start fresh. So
right.
that's what I'm pulling from this.
Yeah, facts. We gonna be. It's about to be fishing season, so we about to start going out fishing. I don't know if you ever been fishing before.
Yeah, I fish a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, invite the old man to pull him up, come out to fish. Sometimes just having that time with that in the water, you sitting up there and just chopping it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get to learn the person, man. It's about patience. Patience is everything, and in that process, I think fishing is one of the most patient sports ever. But in the process of that patience, you got to be doing something constructive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just advice, bro. That's it. But
I
definitely
appreciate
stay
y'all.
in tune, man. Just stay in tune.
I see brother Chris with his comment down there. I definitely I could reach out to him and see if he would be willing to come on here and speak with us if that would be something that he's willing to do and we could all have this conversation. Because if you want me to be honest, I don't really know how to approach it. I'm kind of like having my guard up in the way still because that's just how I made myself to be, I guess. I don't want to feel no pain behind it anymore.
Yeah.
I learned to grow past it. So, I just don't want it to be something that I'm trying to put my all into just to turn around and not get the results that I'm looking for.
Right. Well, I'm gonna tell you, you don't have to. Men do not grow in isolation. We grow in community, and this here is a community of fathers, brothers, men who have been through some things that can either assist each other in our journeys. You know what I mean? Like all of us, we may not all have the answers individually, but collectively, yeah, we got some answers here. It's like we ain't got to deal with the problems.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all, brothers, man, for sure.
Anybody else want to tap in, man? Anybody else want to tap in before we tap out? That's the call.
No, I just want to say that brother Chris really hit the nail on the head with our brother Jules here. I feel like since I became a dad, like I think the main thing I've been trying to.
Does your camera work?
Yeah, my bad, brother. I was over here cleaning like Cinderella real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think for me, the main thing I've had to tap into is just giving people grace. In our different seasons, we kind of, not I wouldn't say unfortunately, and I don't want to be dismissive of the things that you're going through, brother Jules. I just think we kind of put people on the pedestal, and when they let us down, it's like, all right, like now you really gotta prove to me that you deserve to be in that spot. So I think, the first step, you definitely, as a man, you want to, make sure whoever's around you, whoever's going to be pouring into you or instilling anything in you and your son, you want to make sure you're comfortable. But I think, like Brother Chris was saying, like, give him that grace. And now that y'all are two, grown men, I think it's good that I saw a suggestion in the comments. Hey, write down some questions you want to ask. Maybe, it can be anything. And I feel like if he feels like you guys' relationship is built on that transparency and he wants to see it go further and he'll have the opportunity to be a granddad, I don't see why he wouldn't, articulate whatever it is that you guys need to talk about. But yeah, definitely, that was my main thing. Just lead with grace, and allow, like Brother Chris said, allow, your heart not to be hardened, and just allow God to do the rest after that.
I appreciate that.
Yo, brother Kwanzaa, you here with us? What's going on with you, brother? How you feeling this evening? Find out you got the phone on mute and just sitting there, the camera off. You ain't listening. Brother Howell, what's up with you, brother? You put the boys to sleep yet? Okay. Y'all still muted. If y'all trying to unmute, brother Ali, what's going on? Are you feeling all right? How was your weekend, brother? Oh yeah, y'all definitely.
Nah, I hear you, brothers. I hear you. My weekend was great, man. Great topic. Brother Joel and Brother Jenkins, I'm proud of y'all, for what y'all saying. I can relate to, man, as being a father out there, old man father. I'm a double dutch with Kenny. Time. Time was sacrificed for me. Time and cutting three things: the boy in me, and becoming a man, and traveling, and providing. I had to sacrifice, I had to sacrifice myself to be more of a provider as a young dad, becoming a young father, into my daughter's life. So I do commend your fathers out there, man. And great topic tonight. We are live every Monday night, 9:30. Be sharp, be prepared. Great topics like each and every week.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, man, my weekend was good, brother Kenny, brother Dwayne, KID. I see y'all.
That's what's up. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for tapping in tonight. As usual, man, we are all here. We are all present. Is all hearts and minds clear tonight? I take it that
Yeah.
all hearts and minds is clear. Anybody have any statements? Any exiting statements?
Yeah, I guess I'll say that, I appreciate y'all for the talk. It definitely feels like a relief to be able to sit down and talk with y'all brothers a little bit about it, because I haven't spoken on that topic at all. And it's been, a couple of months now, I want to say. And, I still haven't given him that opportunity since then, but I might go about it a little different now, thanks to the talks I'm having with y'all. It's definitely like, pushing me extra to just go about it differently than what I have been doing. So I just want to thank y'all for, giving y'all insight on it.
Definitely, young man. Be at peace. Have a great week. We definitely get back up. I think Saturday morning for the brothers. We're gonna be in our man cave with Dr. Morgan. Definitely 7 a.m. on Saturday is our spiritual feast. You know what I mean? We able to feed our spirit on that Zoom line. So if you're not in the chat, definitely want to get you in the chat. Um, Shoot a text or something so we could be able to lock you in. Outside of that, I'm gonna say to this to all of the brothers, man. Although we are fathers now, we were once boys. And when we were boys, some of us may have experienced the love of a father. Some of us may have not. But the fact remains that you are our father now. So you have to be able to go back into your boyhood and to be able to go with a forgiving heart and recall the instances that traumatize you the most from not having that figure in your life. Either write it down or just think about it. And when you do, you got to release it. Because what happens is we deal with generational curses and we don't want to allow generational curses to move on to the next generation, which means your sons, your daughters. You want to be in a place of peace within yourself so that your growth and development can continue to mature and it can continue to excel so that you can be the best father that you can be. Because at the end of the day, it is our children who we have to have the best interests in regards to our decision making, and knowing that we are making the right decisions for them until they are able to make rational, healthy choices themselves. But until then, you have to take the time as a father. Think about your boyhood. Think about the things you need to forgive. Some things you got to let go in order for you to grow. Because that's what it says. It's like, what are you growing through? Not what you're going through, but what you're growing through is going to help somebody else in the future. So I say that and say peace for tonight. I'm going to pray us out. Heavenly Father God, we come to you tonight, Father God, bearing our hearts on our sleeve, oh Lord God. And we ask of you, Lord, to look over us, oh Father God, that it will be no backlash, Lord God, from these conversations that we're having. Although we're utilizing the media, but we're using it for the grace of your good and your glory, Father God, so that your kingdom can be acknowledged and recognized here, oh Lord God, in this space, oh Lord. So we just want to thank you right now, Father, for touching us, Lord God, in our minds, our emotions, and our will, that we understand, Father God, that our children are your children and we are yours. So, Father God, continue to guide our lives, Lord God, in a path of righteousness and keep us, Father God, in close communication with you. Although we leave from out of this space, but never from out of your presence, we thank you and we bless you until we come again. I praise you in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. All right, brothers.
Amen. Appreciate you, brothers.
Peace and blessings to all.
Amen.
Good night, everybody.
Stay strong, stay safe, stay
Good night.
connected.
Everyone be safe. Blessings to
And if you
everybody.
got anything going on, make sure y'all reach into the chat. FathersLiveInTheHood.org.
Sir. One.
All right, good night.
Good. Y'all brothers have a good one.
You
Thanks
too.
a lot,
Peace.
man.